Nice and close, yeah, you can be pretty close to it, yeah.
Okay. So, I debated you last time in NYC, and that was a fun little back and forth. I'm hoping to kind of continue that energy here. So, what I'm aiming to as the opening topic first is about the censoring of Jimmy Kimmel and him getting fired, and why that's like a supported initiative, and I agree with that. It's the first topic I want to hit on. Second topic I want to hit on is the fact that it's a good idea to return American manufacturing back to the United States of America. And the third topic I want to hit on is the fact that I think that the Supreme Court's ruling on President Trump's immunity was justified. So that's kind of where I want to go through them. Easiest one first is, and I think this is like pretty straightforward. I don't think you can argue that Jimmy Kimmel's censoring wasn't justified. He was spreading misinformation live on air. Okay, I know a lot of people were complaining about the fact that it was related to Charlie Kirk's death, and that's what we keep hearing on the conservative side of things. They keep drumming on and on and on about it. But from my perspective, being on the right, it was more about the fact that he straight up said that that the guy was a MAGA shooter, right? He said this was one of MAGA's own, right? And he said that in his speech. You can look at it. Although I see a lot of head nods in the room, you can look at it specifically. He said this was a MAGA shooter, and it wasn't a joke. And here's the thing: when you spread misinformation on your side, I think it's perfectly valid to be deplatformed. Okay, so
yeah.
I will plug it. Okay, so the first thing, okay, I'm gonna try this. Okay, what is the, who do you normally get your news from?
Honestly, this is going to sound crazy, but I usually cycle around between a lot of different news sources. So I check out extreme right-wingers like Gavin McInnes, right? I check out some America First stuff, and then I also check out some left-wingers like Hassan, Bosch. I scroll through some of your stuff too on occasion. It's just that it's really important to get a good like gaze of like what the political spectrum's like and what the people around me are thinking. So
Okay. So Jimmy Kimmel, the reason I asked is Jimmy Kimmel absolutely did not say that that guy was a MAGA shooter. What Jimmy Kimmel said was that, it was, I'm paraphrasing slightly, but it was something along the lines of like, after this information has come out, Trump and the MAGA people are doing everything they can to label this guy as anything but their own.
yeah,
That's what he said.
okay.
That statement is true.
Yeah, if they're doing anything to label him but their own,
Yes.
the implication there is that he was a MAGA shooter.
I mean, like,
How is that not the implication?
So, being good faith, you can argue that that could be an implication. You could take that from that.
What is the implication you took from that then?
Well, the explicit meaning, what he's saying is that they're doing everything they can to make it so he's not wrong. That is true. The second the shooting happened, before we knew anything about this, Vance, Trump, and everybody else was already declaring that it was like a crazy trans shooter, that the person was like a left-wing extremist. We didn't know anything about it. They were doing anything they could to make it so that he wasn't one of their own. That is what they were doing.
Okay, that's a little. I feel like it's a little disingenuous on the wording because the implication there is, from my perspective, that like he is implying that if they're doing everything to make him seem like he's not his own, there's implicit guilt in that statement, right? Because he was talking and he opened up. I watched the entire thing.
Yeah.
He opened up talking about the shooting, and basically the right wing's response to it was to make it seem like it wasn't their own. Right?
Which was the response, and it was disgusting.
Yeah, but if the implication is that the right isn't trying to make it seem like it's their own shooter, then the implication is that it is one of their own.
Like I said, if you're being super good faith, I understand somebody could take that from it, but I think that my interpretation is just as valid because explicitly and like factually it was true. They were doing everything to label this guy as not a MAGA person as soon as they could.
If you could pull two different types of perspectives from the same type of line delivery, don't you think there's an issue with the delivery in itself, right? Like if he's appealing.
I understand what I'm just saying. Firstly, I'm just saying that what he said explicitly was true.
Okay.
You can argue that the implication maybe was that kind of sounds like saying it was a MAGA shooter, although he didn't say that anywhere else in his opening speech. We can argue that you could take it from that, right?
Who's Jimmy Kimmel's main